Hello, everyone. Welcome to the Phillip Siddiq Show. Morris from America. A coming of age film, but it's more than that. We have the director with us, Chad Hartigan. You guys all know I'm bad with names, but we get the nitty gritty. And Markees Christmas. First of all, you guys, thank you for appearing on the show.
No problem. Thanks for having you.
I have a whole stack of notes, but we're just gonna freewheel it.
All right.
First of all, how did this project come about? Because it's fascinating. And then Markees talked about this is your first time going overseas, right? Yeah.
So I wrote it, and I started off wanting to make a film in Europe. That was kind of one of the first ideas, and then I started pulling experiences from my own adolescence because I grew up in Europe in a country called Cyprus. I lived there till I was 12. And I was just like, well, I really used to hump my pillow, and I was like, that could be a good scene. This girl really squirted me in my pants when I thought I was getting a kiss. And just started collecting these moments and slowly figuring out, well, what kind of character should it be? I don't want it to just be me. And then deciding on Germany, and then adding the music element, and then it just sort of took on away from there as I was writing.
Your first time going across, or flying over the water, were you afraid of flying, or were you just like, I can do this, I'm going to do this?
I mean, I watch way too many movies with planes in them, so it's just like, yeah, I was scared. I was terrified. Like I really like watched Soul Plane every night before
I watched
before I took off, man. Like it was just, well, yeah, I was scared of the flight, but then once we took off, I'm like, oh, this is cool. Then we got like 10,000 feet up in there. I'm like, take me back to LAX. I don't even want to go anymore. Like we got up to like cruising altitude. I went to the restroom, calmed down. I was just like, oh, well, this is awesome. And then I sat back down, and then like for about like 3 hours, and then we were like somewhere over Canada, and they were having a storm, and it was just like horrible turbulence. I'm thinking it's regular. Mm-hmm. I'm thinking this is just airplane stuff. So I was pretty relaxed. I was just looking outside of the window like nothing was going on, and then my grandma was like, I just look over like, what's wrong with you? She's like, there's turbulence. I'm like, this is turbulence. I'm like, this is nothing. She's like, say it for yourself, and it just goes right back to her face. I'm just like, man. But yeah, I had a good time flying there. Had a good time there, of course. Didn't have a good time going back. Of course, there were a lot of tears. Mm-hmm. Of course, we all kind of became like a big family. So it was just like, man, I don't want to go back to LA. Just give me a couple more weeks. Mm-hmm. Take me back to Heidelberg. I don't like Berlin.
Well, okay. Now, Chad, how did you find Markees? Since this is his first on-screen appearance, mm-hmm. Markees, I have to say you killed it. I'm serious, you killed it. Now, finding, I was reading the notes, you did something a little special as far as casting calls.
Well, we had a casting director, and we were going through the agencies, and we had open calls, and we did all the regular stuff. But because we were looking for something so specific, we were looking for certain age. It had to be a black kid. It had to be. We even wanted a kid to be a little bit overweight. But it was just so specific that we didn't have a lot of options. And we weren't seeing anybody good. And then some friends of mine they go to comedy web stuff in LA, and Markees, his big brother, sometimes makes these short web content videos, and Markees is in them. So they were like, check this kid out. And I watched them on YouTube, and they're very like broad and silly. So you couldn't be like, oh, he could be a dramatic actor, but there was something very natural about him. There was charismatic. So I had to try and send a message through YouTube being like, hey, I promise I'm not a creep, but who's that kid? How can I meet him? And then we got him to come audition, and his audition was okay. It wasn't the greatest, but it was different than all the other actor kids. And so that's why I ended up casting him, because he was just smarter, more natural, and that's stuff that's easy to work with rather than kids who think they know what they're doing but really don't.
Right. Now, before we get into character development, Markees, now, Chad was sending you messages to YouTube. How did you filter out that he wasn't like a creeper or just somebody trying to like, ooh?
I was actually messaging his big brother.
Yeah, he didn't message me.
Yeah. Okay. And so even more so, like the big brother was like, "Who are you?" But yeah, he must have heard about it through him.
Yeah, I heard about it. He was like, "You got an audition, but don't get your hopes up." Man, well, like that's kind of Matt's job. Like I've known Matt for 8 years of my life now. He's like actual family, so it's just like when he said that, I'm just like, whatever. I'm not even listening to you. I thought he was playing at first, and then he's like, okay, so next week you have that audition. I'm like, audition? He's like, yeah, those papers I gave to you. I was like, I thought I was supposed to give those to my mom. He's like, no, those are sides. I'm like, oh, I'm going through mom's stuff. She loses the paper. I find it like in my room, like really hidden. Like I finished up pretty quick though. But yeah, Matt picks me up on the day. He picks me up the day before the audition, just so we can go over it. And like, he said it sounded pretty good. So I'm like, okay, I'm good. Just take me home now. And then something happened, as you know. Mm-hmm. And
he missed his first audition.
Yeah, I missed my first audition because
he thought that was it.
I thought it was it. I thought
we probably would have. If we had found any other good kids, we probably would have. Yeah. But we had no other option.
Man, so yeah, I missed my first audition, but then when I came in for the second one, I was just like, man, now I got to do something like to blow their minds, because I missed my last one. So basically, I felt like I was already out of the race. So it was just like, I got to do something big. But then I got in the room, and it's just like so quiet. It's just me doing lines, and then they're like, hey, act something else. Like, I'm like, man.
Waiting for the punch.
I was waiting for something like big. Make me do some improv or something. I wanted to do something, but like it was just like I was shy too. The shyness kind of got me. So it went pretty good if I say so myself.
Well, it worked out.
Yeah, Hollywood already, huh? Getting Mr. Robinson to be his father, how was that? Because you're two dynamic father and son. I mean, it is like spot on. And I couldn't imagine having a son and it's like, we're going to Germany. Yeah. And then not really focusing on his feelings about it. How did you get them to develop that?
Well, we actually had another actor involved for a while before Craig, and it would have been a totally different movie. But initially, one of the first thought I had was to cast somebody from the music world, because I was like, oh, it'd be important to have like that music authenticity. But then it didn't work out, and so Craig was at the same agency I am, and his team had seen the script and really thought it would be something he'd be good at. So I met with him and cast him. And as soon as I met with him and I started picturing him and Markees together, I was like, this is going to be great. I could just tell that their dynamic was going to be really, really strong. And then we cast him, and they got to Skype once.
Yeah,
and then they got to meet for like 30 minutes. But Craig was doing another movie in Atlanta, and then I had to go to Germany to start pre-production. So we never had a chance to all sit in the same room until the day before we were shooting together in Germany.
Now, how was that working with Mr. Robinson?
I mean, it was great. I mean, at first I thought it was gonna be hard, like to like keep from laughing when I was around Craig. Like I just seen him, like he's just too funny. Like I just watched most of the movies he's in.
How did the casting of the women go? Because a German tutor, I mean, his character, he helps her grow as she helps him grow too.
Yeah, she is an actress that I saw in a movie called Wetlands, a German movie. It's real bizarre, but great. And it was a huge movie in Germany because it was a very controversial book there. So I thought that she was going to be too famous to do the movie because it's a bit of a smaller part. But she, again, is also at the same agency as me. So just worth a shot. We sent her the script, and she really loved it and responded to it because when she was 15, she moved to the U.S. for a summer on a ice hockey scholarship. Didn't speak any English and was in upstate New York and one of the few white girls around. And she had basically the opposite experience. It felt like she could really relate. So we cast her right from that. And then the girl, the teenager, we had a big open call in Germany and saw a lot of girls, a lot of good, talented girls. But the one that we cast, Lena, in her very first audition, she had all these like marker things written on her arm in marker, as if she had gone out the night before and gotten a bunch of phone numbers, or and she showed up to our audition like that, like she had just came straight from an all-night club, and I was like, girl. That girl's the girl.
Mark, it's sort of like you missing your first audition.
Yeah.
Just like, hey, I don't care.
I mean, that's the thing. When you're seeing so many people over and over again, it's the strange things that pop out that make people stand out. It's not always just doing the lines well, because a lot of people can do that. You're looking for something else to pop in a room or in an audition. For her, she felt like the line readings were good, but there was that added quality of like, what is this girl up to? Like, she looks like trouble.
Yes. Your character fell in love with her. First of all, how did you two work together? Is your chemistry, how did you build that up? Because on screen you can see. I mean, you're longing to like, oh, she's on, you know. And then we root for you, saying, yeah. But women are women, so how did that work?
I mean, me and Lena didn't hang out much.
She actually didn't speak very much.
Yeah, she didn't speak very much English.
Yeah.
But we got to hang out like towards the end of shooting, but like during like the bulk of shooting, when we were in Heidelberg, like we didn't hang out at all. So it was just like kind of, hey, see you at work type of thing. So it was, if you ask me, this is just my opinion, because like we didn't like get to rehearse that well like before, so it was just like in a way that we just go to work and we just do the scene and we just leave. So it was just like we didn't have much to talk about. So yeah. Of course she didn't speak much English, so it was just like hard for us to work together.
If you ask me, I would say that
yes.
Lena in real life intimidated Markees a little bit.
Okay,
and,
hey, listen.
And so that dynamic is real that you see on the screen.
All right, listen.
But she was less nervous than you.
Of course.
So
Lena,
that's the dynamic that you see on the screen. Is she has that confidence. She's like, whatever.
Yeah, I mean, Lena, she's already been in the acting business. Like she knows her stuff. Lena is smart. That's one thing I can give to Lena. You know.
Now, Markees, let's talk about the pillow scene, because that brought back so many memories, even for me. I mean, I think one of the other two guys, and we laughed out loud because it was like, oh my goodness, did they dig in my mind? Did they see me doing this? Because I remember that vividly.
Man, I was really hoping that wasn't going to come up in this interview. That has come up in every interview, as a matter of fact. So it's just like, man, this sucks. All right, the pillow scene was my least favorite scene to shoot. But if you want to learn like the history of it, I think this is the guy you talk to.
Yeah, I mean, I really did it, and I feel like it is probably a universal memory, if not very specifically a pillow, but like, you know, just something like that. At that age, you're just something.
All right. My favorite scene is like, it's not even just one scene. It's that whole Olaf's house thing. Olaf is the guy whose house they went to after
The sleep, the guy that slept in the sleepover house.
Yes, in Frankfurt when he gets left behind and has breakfast.
The whole time they're in there, that's my favorite part of the movie.
Oh, yeah, you got to do that little fight, that stunt.
Yeah, you got a chance to try to fight for your girl.
My favorite part, it always gets me, is when he wakes up in the bathtub